Hey, welcome back, good life riders. Welcome back to the channel. As you can tell from the reflection behind me, I'm not in the garage this week, nor am I in Nebraska, but we'll talk about that more later. This week we are going to talk about the Insta360 ONE X2 360-degree camera. I'll tell you a little bit about my initial thoughts on the camera after using it for about 2 weeks, and I'll show you some of the footage from it. So this week's video, we're going to talk about the Insta360 camera that I got for doing some motovlogging. And I'm going to tell you my initial thoughts about the camera and some of the challenges that I've ran across using the camera already, and some of the things hopefully to help you if you decide you want to get you a camera like this for doing motovlogging. So after watching a bunch of 360 footage from Dirty D's, Moto Sarge, and Ride to Food, I decided I really wanted to get an Insta360 camera. I looked at the GoPro Max cameras and the Insta360R, as well as the Insta360 ONE X2, and decided on the Insta360 ONE X2 camera as the camera that I wanted to use. And here's a couple of the reasons why. One, the slimness of the body gave for some great opportunities to get close to you with the 360, and the stitching made so it wouldn't be as weird because it's a smaller camera as compared to the GoPro Max camera and the Insta360 ONE R. Then after reading some reviews on the X2 versus the Insta360 ONE R, I decided that there are just some opportunities for some extra kinds of footage that this camera will do that's not available on the ONE R, and that's the biggest reason why I went with this camera. Okay, so there are some initial challenges with using this X2 camera, and those are mainly being how you transfer the footage from the camera into either your phone or into the PC, and then get it into editing software. I have an Android phone, so initially I wirelessly transmitted video to my phone and then did some editing in that, and then exported out some different footage that I shot straight to Facebook. Then also I've done it to YouTube, but it is a little bit of a long, cumbersome process, especially for longer footage like we're normally used to using, like we do on our GoPros, where we film the whole entire ride. So I did get the Insta360 Studio 2021 footage for my Windows computer, and I've also tried it on my Apple computer. So far I've found that the Apple computer that I have is an older model MacBook Pro that actually I do Final Cut Pro editing on, but it isn't able to handle the 360-degree footage. It actually locked it up on my computer, just bringing footage into their software. On my Windows computer, I brought footage in and figured out how to edit and move the keyframing around by watching a few of the tutorials that are available. I don't really feel that there's a lot of great tutorial stuff out there for this, so hopefully in my future editing I can bring you some videos to maybe help people better understand the idiosyncrasies of editing within the Insta360 Studio software. But the biggest challenge I was having then is I edited a 15-minute ride footage and then tried to export it out, and it kept crashing. So I had to go to the forums to ask questions, and in the forum they gave me 3 different things that I could use to try and get the footage to export. I did that and it actually worked, and I'll give you that trick here at the end of this video. So one of the main things you can do with this, or one of the easiest things you can do with this, is you can use it just like a regular GoPro camera, where like here I have it mounted in the front of the bike that I'm riding, and I can do a forward shot of where I'm going. I can also, with the same camera, pan around and get a shot of me riding. There's also a mic adapter that you can use to connect an external mic and be able to talk into it just like you do with a regular motovlog. The only thing is you'd have a cord that would be strung from you to the camera. Another thing you can do is you can take that same, this is the exact same footage that I had in the last clip, only you can do what's called a tiny world, where you make it look like a world and then you kind of jump out from it, and then also things like trees jump out from them. It's kind of neat for little short clips. Wouldn't be something you'd want to do a full moto vlog with, but it works for some short clips, gives a little bit of a different viewpoint. And then the other thing that you can do is you can flip this to what's called an inverse of the tiny world. This is really a warped out view and probably would only work on some really short videos or maybe social media posts or something like that. But it does kind of give another little cool view, and it really works well for things like, again, the trees jumping out. But then another thing of what you can do is, this is one of the rides where you can have the camera set at a specific directional lock, and then as you ride around, like here I'm riding around in circles, and it'll pick that up and you're able to see a multitude of viewpoints from that same camera angle. So that's kind of a neat little feature that you can bring to your videos here, you know, in a situation like this where I'm doing slow rides, making a lot of changes in direction. Kind of gives a neat little viewpoint without ever having to do too much. And then here's another one where I have the camera mounted and I'm actually moving the direction of the camera to kind of meet which way I'm going. Sometimes it's locked, and it kind of gives another viewpoint of the action that's going on. Kind of a neat way to be able to pick that stuff up and also be able to see ahead of where you're going, and sometimes be able to see my facial movements. So kind of just a neat overall, another neat way to be able to process that same simple footage of just the camera being set there like a GoPro. But what really makes having an Insta360 camera is the ability to use it like this, where we have it on a selfie stick, and the selfie stick's extended up above us, and it looks like it's just a drone shot because it edits out that selfie stick. So here I can, you know, pan around, give you a look of the area that I'm riding. I can also pan it back around to the bike, and it looks like a little drone is following us where we go. Kind of gives a really cool viewpoint. You can zoom into the footage, you can zoom out of the footage. You can take times where you find things that you want to track and you can make it track them. There was kind of a rough version of that. Wasn't very smooth. Again, here I'm kind of not very smooth with my movements. Kind of gives you the ability to focus in on some key things that you want people to be able to see in your videos. And kind of gives a really neat way of being able to bring people along on your ride with you. And then the other thing of this is there is a 360-degree audio. So if you'll see here in some of this, you can hear my wife talking on the phone. You can also hear the motorcycle when we speeds up, and then here you'll be able to hear the car that's following us. You'll be able to hear its engine come through. But you know, it does pick up the wind. You'd have to kind of monitor that. So hope you'll enjoyed this little initial thoughts on the camera and some initial views of that we can do. We'll bring you more in the future, but for now I told you I would bring you in and show you how I was able to export out my 15-minute video. So we'll go to that. So here we are back in our little project, and if we go up to the upper left and with our choices we choose settings and then preferences, it brings us in. And then if we go down and we choose the performance area, normally it is set at auto, and in order to make this export right, you have to change that to choose CPU and then click on OK. And then when you go into your export, when you tell it to export and you go into your export settings, there are some AI effects, color plus and remove grain. Do not choose those options. If you choose those options, it'll freeze, but if you don't choose those options, then you can export it out. And as you can see, I was able to export out an 8 gig video file. Hey, so hopefully that gave you a good idea of how you can use an Insta360 camera for motovlogging. There'll be more to come. Next week we're going to show you a little ride that we did, and coming up soon in the next couple of weeks too, I'm going to give you a review of the Ride Like a Pro class that I took while I was down here. But for now, I'm going to end this giving you a little view of our view from where we're staying. Till next time, keep the sunny side up, keep the rubber side down, and have an utterly awesome day.